someone make a motion to approve the minutes? And they were good minutes, Heidi. A lot of work there.
Yeah, you do a lot of work. I move we approve the minutes.
Someone second it? Okay. Before we get started, I would just like to open with, we did go to the planning board the other night, and I think they would really love us to help with the natural resource policy. And we told them we'd like coordination in our growth policy, and they were very receptive to it, but what they do with it from there, I don't know. But I hope they will. But I think, that's what we need to be working on is our natural resource policy. I mean, we need to come with ideas and then take it to them and hope that they'll put it in. And another thing, I really like our group here, but sometimes we get off on other tangents, and I would ask that you please, as chairwoman, I would ask that we don't bash the county commissioners. I just don't think it's right.
You can do it.
Yeah,
To
but
my
no,
face.
if you have something against them, please go to them in person. We have one with us right now, and I just, I want our minutes to look good and professional, not like we're up here bashing people that have appointed us. So, is everybody okay with that?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I'm okay with that. I
All
think
right.
bash was a term that was injected in the minutes. I think that Elena and I were having a reasonable discussion about conflicts in ads. I didn't think we were bashing them.
No,
I didn't feel
I don't
like
think
we
so.
were.
Narrow-minded and illiterate.
No.
I call that fashion.
Yeah, and I'll accept
Way to stand
that.
up.
I was,
Yeah. It wasn't illiterate, but
Okay. But let's just keep it focused, and I want our minutes to look good, like we're really professional.
Right.
And we are. We're getting a lot of good stuff
I
done.
think we are.
Yeah, I'm happy with it.
I do
so.
too. I think for Heidi's
Okay.
sake, she puts so much in, and if she just, she puts so many hours in, I think they could be shortened up almost a little more general. Like say there was a discussion, people discuss the pros and cons of the growth policy and then just have a sentence or two.
Well, it's up to you guys.
I mean-
I try to put it
well, the
in there.
minutes are supposed to be a summary,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
it
then
should
the
be.
e-file is
So it should be everything
what it's
then?
supposed to, not a,
No,
no,
just a summary.
Okay,
a
just
summary.
Right.
All right.
of
Because
the decisions made.
Okay.
because everything is recorded.
Now the other
So you're
night,
saying that it should be a summary, just,
It should be just a summary.
Because that's kind of
On
what
each
Becky
one of
did, and
these.
then they didn't like what Becky did,
But if you're doing it, we might like it. Maybe it was just Becky.
Well, Becky had missed a meeting or something, there was a little something there, but if we make a motion, I think that should be in the minutes, but other than
something
that.
real important then.
Right, when we
tit for
make
tat.
decisions.
Okay. Another
But-
thing at the meeting the other day at the it was asked, what is your purpose with FMAC? Now, what did you say, Alina?
I said I'm still waiting. I see
Okay,
it's on
guess
here.
what? I brought
One
you.
other thing about the the planning board, there wasn't a quorum.
I told, yeah.
So it's going to be repeated at the end of this month.
Oh, really?
I'm
Okay.
not sure of the date yet.
I printed this out. The county commissioners told us what our purpose is. Please take one and pass it around and read it and study. So if someone asks
So
you.
now, before I even read it, I always thought our purpose was to advise the county commission on land use issues.
It's right
And on, see, and I'm not reading it yet.
I know, and on the
That's
course.
impression. Well, that's a land use issue.
Yes, it is.
And to, sort of as a, part B, to encourage them to invoke this coordination with the federal agencies so that the commissioners can be involved with
Get
it.
an A, you passed.
But the coordination didn't come up until last summer.
With the Sapphire Wilderness.
No,
deal?
it came up after we
Oh, the
talked
coordination,
about,
yeah.
it came, that wasn't in it from the get-go.
No, but
Coordination.
see, it says right here, you're gonna be learning as you go along, and we're
Right.
gonna educate ourselves and be more to know how to help our county commissioners. So this just gives you a purpose, Alina, and read it, so next time they ask you what the purpose is, you could tell them.
We're supposed to advise the county commissioners,
That's what it
Exactly.
is.
and that's
And
it.
that's what we do. And
Not
we're
to-
bringing in speakers, we brought in several, we are to learn ourselves, educate ourselves. So, and inform the public, that's why we're bringing in these speakers, so they can learn.
Forest Management
Oh, to make-
Advisory.
Elena happy we didn't get the grant, so.
Oh, thank you, I was gonna ask you.
She'll be happy about that.
Did they give a reason?
Hmm?
Did they give a reason?
Do you
Ran
want
out
me
of
to
money.
read that,
Huh?
or I was gonna wait
Oh,
till new business, but
okay.
did you want me to read that?
Was it mostly the money that was, that we didn't have the
Yeah.
money
Got
for?
information.
We got 5,000 and
Yeah,
that's
then
probably,
hold on.
well, she can stop it.
But I didn't know if you wanted me to wait
I
till
don't
new
care.
business to discuss that.
Yeah, it's only good. Yeah, it's up to you.
I think it should wait till it's on the agenda.
Okay, I'm looking for.
Well, I
my-
can bring it up as new
Here.
business.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, good idea.
Okay, we discussed what the purpose of FMAC. Discuss Granite County growth policy. Anybody got any comments?
They're still working on it?
They are, and what do you think, Elena? I think they're having trouble with it, because they can't get a quorum, not enough people come, you know? We would have, but Tom Sanders' wife passed away,
Right.
so we understood that. But,
That's
it's hard to get people to volunteer to get in there, you know, it's a lot of work. They got a big job ahead of them.
It's hard to get people to even do what we're doing, which I've tried to resign here several times.
Yes,
as
we
you
don't
know.
let you.
Somebody asked me today if maybe I would be willing to get on the school board again.
I just
No,
saw where,
no.
what's his face resigned.
Well, he's gonna stay on as football coach, this is all, but in September, I think he's gonna be done being superintendent.
He's been a good one, you know.
One of my relatives got in a lot of trouble with Mike a few years ago by suggesting that he had reached this inevitable burnout stage, which you do when you're doing that kind of job,
It's hard.
and that he might want to think about a more productive and, let's say, a way of spending his time that wasn't as frustrating sometimes. And this relative of mine, not a close relative, Mike took pretty big exception to that, you know, but maybe he finally smelled the coffee.
Yeah, it's a hard job. you know,
Yeah,
with the school system.
it's not easy, and
No,
you know, and Mike, just like me, and I'll guess the rest of us, Mike is an imperfect human being,
you're
and
kidding.
so,
We all are.
Yeah, right.
yeah,
Well,
yeah, but he's put in a lot of time, and under some difficult circumstances, his health
with the
has
cancer,
been,
And his daughter.
health has been, yeah, and the health of his family, so,
yeah.
anyway,
Well,
yeah,
wish
I
him
guess,
well.
I guess two board members are going down the pike, Garlotti and, Kim.
How about the growth, or the planning board, have you heard of anybody that they're gonna maybe hire? How many do they have? Is it like, 4 makes a
7.
quorum, so
Yeah, I
maybe
told you, I
7.
saw where they want 2 more people.
2 more, you were the one, just told me. 2 more
I don't know
people.
where I saw it.
Yeah, well, it's gonna be hard to do that planning board, but we could sure help them, you know, by coming up with a really good natural resource plan for them, and,
I think it'd be good for us to advise them, I mean, they've asked, right?
well, they want this,
Yeah,
they do
and-
want
And
this.
so maybe.
And we
maybe
all
can
got good
help them.
ideas, so,
Well, just if you want to discuss this, you read it and it says forest management laws, statutes, rules, regulations. Well, the state had their session. I didn't hear anything coming down or discussion about any of the proposals or the
what
bills,
are you reading, Elena?
She's reading Article 2.
which you handed out.
Where is Article 2?
It starts in the middle one.
The purpose of FMAP?
Objections,
B.
objectives,
Objectives.
B, Keep
abreast of
apprised.
applicable forest
Right.
management laws, statutes, rules, and regulations, and work with legislatures on issues. Well, we're working with Carrie White on coordination. Would you bring
Well,
her
that's
over for that?
that's only coordination.
That's right.
forest management.
Okay, you know, anybody here, it can't just be me, anybody
know
here
that.
can invite somebody, you know, and we'll listen.
But it's also a suggestion I made that each one of us should be assigned something to look and help out.
Absolutely. I agree with you. We're all intelligent here. I think we're gonna come up with a nice natural resource policy.
Not all of us.
Not all of us, huh?
Say,
Okay. What's the Granite County Fire Protection Plan? Why are we talking about that today?
I was gonna put that under new business too.
All right.
Because I thought we'd stay with the agenda, and then it
Okay.
would go under new business.
No, it's on
Okay.
the agenda.
Oh, it is? Oh,
Yeah, it's right on the list.
oh, geez, I thought I didn't have it on there.
Yeah, no.
Okay, well, Chuck had read this, and I haven't. I kind of looked it over, and it's on the Granite County Commissioner's website. It's a wildfire protection plan, and it's like almost 100 pages. But it really doesn't address the kind of firefighting that we would like in Granite County. Like we had mentioned before in the group that we would like to see fires put out in Granite County, but realize that some may get away from us.
Right.
And so we felt that maybe each person should take the time to go, it's right on the website, instead of running off 100 pages for everybody, to take the time to look at it.
Okay, what's it called?
It's right on the Granite County website is it under forms? Forms
Community
and document?
Wildfire Protection Plan.
Fire protection plan.
Yeah, community wildfire protection plan.
Okay, and you want us, our assignment is to read this and
And look it
be
over.
prepared to discuss it next time?
Yeah.
And maybe make some good recommendations to who? To the
Well,
Forest
yeah,
Service
we
or the
could-
county commissioners to talk to the
to-
Forest Service?
You guys first.
To us first,
Okay.
and then from
that's-
there, maybe to the county commissioners.
All right.
But we don't know whether we should, because it's so big, maybe we should just have a statement in there that we want our wildfire.
Wouldn't the Forest
fires-
Service have some of that printed up for anybody?
Well,
that
this is
wanted-
on the Granite
It's-
County Commissioner.
it's not,
It says
it's not
Forest Service.
federal.
Oh, it's not. The
It's on
Forest
the-
Service.
No,
Is it?
this isn't Forest Service.
This is Granite County.
County Commissioner website.
Okay, Chuck, can we get them to print one out for us?
I did.
I mean,
No, I
but-
meant for
but
everybody.
I-
Well, it's 100
It's 100
pages.
pages.
Oh, they
But-
let me
We
print
could.
But,
But we didn't get our grant.
well, we got
Well.
5,000. I think it would be
100
worthwhile,
pages.
and I think the county should pay for it, because
I do too. We
then
need to
can
have
make
one to go over it.
notes.
It's hard
Yeah.
on a computer and then you can take
Yes.
notes.
Yeah,
I mean, I could ask for next time, if I could ask Mike if he could print one out for
Yeah, we probably
everybody.
do it.
right.
This
And then-
time, it was kind of couple days down the road to
Yeah.
the meeting.
So would we
and-
still try to discuss it next time and read it on the web, but then there might be a hard copy next time?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can still read it and, make notes or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Or
Okay.
maybe I could ask Mike if he could have them ready and let me know, and I could send everyone a note, and they could come and pick one
I'll
up.
bet nobody reads the whole thing by next time.
Well, maybe you could assign like 25 or 50 pages, but I really think we should have the hard copy before we even start reading.
I like
I
to get
think
in a
it'll
comfy
be more-
chair and a cup of coffee and start reading.
Exactly.
You know?
And highlight stuff.
I got the wrong
Yeah.
agenda.
That's important. You can't highlight it from the
Right,
computer.
right.
And then you lose your page, you can't go back and find where you found
No
that.
wonder I'm all mixed
We
Pay
up.
attention.
And the internet in rural
Yeah.
Montana isn't always the best.
The train is back on the tracks.
Now I got.
Well, your train, mine not
Oh.
necessarily.
So what I'll do then is I'll ask Mike if we could have a copy made
And people could come
and
and get
come
it.
in, and then I'll let everyone know when that happens.
Right.
And they
Come
can
in
come
and
in
pick
and
it
pick one up.
Thank you.
Super.
Okay,
That would be
great.
best.
You could give this one away.
this is a
We'll
copy.
raffle it off, huh?
Does anyone like to start on this? Bill's a good,
They're raising
No,
money
no, no,
for
no.
FMAC.
100 pages.
I guess
I'm
we could just
irresponsible.
keep this one. Look at it.
I'm gonna look at it online, and then I'm gonna look at it harder when I get my hard
There's a
copy.
lot of maps and
You
stuff.
need to give me a
so
file
it's not
cabinet. We're
100
getting so
pages.
much stuff going on.
But we just
Right.
wanna make sure that when, may not happen this year, but maybe next year, when fires happen, we want them to be able to
Right.
realize we got everything.
I might suggest that when you said what we had talked about was that the Forest Service would put out every fire, I don't think that is what we talked about. What we talked about was
Okay.
the Forest Service would address every fire. They'd try to get somebody on every fire.
Okay,
But the putting out, Chuck made the point,
Some of it's
some of
impossible.
them are not going to be put out.
Yeah.
And when, for whatever reason, if they make a reasonable effort and they don't get put out, then we would live with the consequences. But they're not gonna put out every fire, because that's impossible.
Get some active management on it right away is the key
Active
to it.
management is a great thing, I think.
Yes.
And so sort of by default, you'd still end up with some of what our green friends like to have in part of the management arsenal, which would be, you'd have burned areas that would burn. It's just that when they started to burn, you'd try on them and,
This is where
I
NEPA
wouldn't
laws.
use the term active management, because that just gives a leeway to let it burn.
No management
No management, yeah.
Yeah.
is an active management.
See, this is where coordination's good. Now, Sue likes to see controlled burns on some places, and as we should all. But NEPA laws make it that they have to bring someone in to do these controlled burns at that level or better, or they are not allowed, I think what happens, they just send anybody out to do these controlled burns, they get away, and there goes some guys around,
Well, yeah, I
But we
think
need
controlled
experts.
burning has its place. It's risky from the standpoint that if one of those suckers works, then everybody just kind of,
Yeah.
goes back to sleep. But if one of those things gets away,
And they
then-
usually do with this type of timber.
then it's a giant
really bad.
black eye.
It's
So
terrible,
at any rate,
yeah.
But what if there's a lightning storm, tomorrow and a snag got hit and started to smolder, as wet as it is? Couldn't that just be monitored rather than put out?
I wouldn't mind seeing them just send some
Why not just get it out?
yeah.
healthy,
Why spend
in
the
shape young
taxpayers'
guy
dollars?
or gal up there with a, what was the guy's name? Pulaski,
Yeah,
up there with a Pulaski and just,
just call us, we'll put it out.
that'd be cheap.
Yeah,
But
What I'd say, this time of year, put it out. If it happened in 1st of September, maybe. You might be able to,
because the snow's
weather
coming
yeah,
and
the
it's
weather
not gonna
patterns
be-
changing and everything.
Yeah,
But, this time of this summer.
and our tourists are gone, we don't
It
want to
just
choke
gives
them
them
to
a
death
leeway
when they come,
to
it
do
kills
nothing.
us.
No, our
Tourism.
tourists already got choked by the Canadian
Wasn't that
fires.
awful? Is that out now? I don't see the smoke, or either it's
I
going
don't see the
another
smoke
way.
anymore.
Okay.
One thing I want to bring up about the, this wildfire protection is that they're also in the process of doing the hazard mitigation plan, right?
What's that?
The hazard mitigation plan.
Now, what is that?
They're updating that also. And the hazard mitigation plan also includes wildfires. So that's something to keep in mind.
Did you read it, or you haven't seen it yet, because they're updating it, right?
Well, I'm trying to find where the hazard mitigation plan is.
Sure. That
To
might
see.
be like cutting down and selling bug kill. That'd be a hazard mitigation, right? Trying to get rid of the dry.
Oh, okay.
That's
It covers
why I wanted that
everything in there.
forester.
Oh, I see.
And a controlled burn could be a form of hazard
Yeah.
mitigation,
And even cattle grazing, they eat the grass down.
Yeah.
So they're already discussing that from what I understand.
Oh, I see it, yeah. They're doing a lot of different ideas.
No, they're discussing the hazard mitigation plan.
Yeah.
They already did a survey. It's online. Did anybody fill that out?
And who did that?
The county,
The county.
county commissioners.
Okay.
Anything else? How
Okay,
about
so,
new business?
so just real quick, so I will just make sure everyone gets a
All right.
copy and.
That'd be great.
Do that for
And
next.
I'll read it, I'll
Okay.
take notes. Like
Thank
Sue said,
you.
we can underline things that are important, but we
Right,
can't do
and-
that online.
And we should decide how many pages, because it might be 2 weeks before we get it. I mean,
Well, he had this in within a day.
okay,
He ran this off within a day for me, so it
okay.
was real quick. So I think if he has 7, copies, or,
Sure.
And there should be
8.
Chuck. Is he the only one missing?
yeah.
Did you guys look through that? Did you look through that?
This,
Mhm.
I looked at it online. I didn't read every page, no.
Yeah.
I looked at it online, and Chuck has looked at it too.
Last year.
Yeah, so,
We should talk about the 26th too, we got our speakers. That's the only, I had to work hard to get 2 speakers, same night, get the museum, that museum's filling up fast, but we got it. It was $50 because it's half a day, so it would've been 100 if it was a whole day. But they're gonna come, and Brian's gonna use PowerPoint, and he's gonna show you a lot of visuals about the forest. He'll talk about the Beaverhead Deer Lodge National Forest. Sean Steinbach is a big supporter and a promoter of the, what is that, the authority, what's that? Good Neighbor Authority.
Yeah.
Yes, he's the one that helped get it started, where the state and the federal lands, or the federal government are coming together, learning to manage our forests better. But he'll talk a lot on that, and I've heard they're very good speakers, so
Okay,
I think
that's
we're
the
lucky to have them.
26th.
The 26th at 7 o'clock at the museum, and I hope everybody, I will need help setting up chairs. I have no idea how many people are gonna come. But I was at a funeral the other day, in fact, it was your mother-in-law's. I was looking around on the wall to see where we could do the PowerPoint, cause I don't have a screen. But I guess people just take pictures off the wall, and then Brian can use that.
The school has a screen that we've borrowed for
Oh,
different
really?
things.
That one.
Yeah.
Is that one where they had to take it apart? And I went to a graduation
Yeah,
kindergarten, and
I'm not sure
they
what
had a
they
big
have
screen
now,
up.
but
and it's quite
Doesn't the
interesting how they
museum
do it.
have one?
I haven't asked. Maybe they do. I should ask TJ if they have.
How much did the ad cost?
For what? Oh, in the paper.
Right.
It was $124 for each time. And we got it put around, and I realized they misspelled the name, and it wasn't in color, and they sent me the bill, $171. So I went in to see the gentleman at Gizmo, and I told him he's very nice. He got it all arranged, got the next 2 advertisements are going to be in color, and then we got credit for their mistake. So,
so it's
but he
supposed
said
to be
it happens quite a bit.
124?
Huh?
$124.
$124, yeah.
Can I ask what is Gizmo? I don't know what that is.
that's the toy store.
It's the toy store.
When I go in an ad, I just send it to the Peaburg Mail.
Well, he's been doing advertising for them for a
Yeah.
while now.
What about I had sent it to Peaburg Mail at
Yeah,
some,
that works too.
It just goes to him.
And
It
then
goes to him then.
They give it to him, and
Right.
In fact, I was on the street one day practically crying
Okay.
because the Phillipsburg Mail was closed, and I'd come all the way in, but this guy here told me to go up to Gizmo, so
Yeah.
Scotty helped me. Yeah, I didn't even know that you could go in there, but he was very nice about it, But he said it happens quite often for the,
And I looked up Phillipsburg Museum to get the exact address. There's no such thing.
of what?
Phillipsburg Museum,
What do they call it?
Granite County
Granite County what?
Museum.
Granite County Museum.
Well, I think Phillipsburg Museum, they'll figure it
Well,
out.
I'm just saying that people that don't know, after all, we put it all over the place.
You know, Elena, I think a one-street town, I don't think they'd have trouble finding it. If we had a whole bunch of streets, I would be more worried about it. And the more you put in there, those ads,
Well, if they go
it
to the
costs.
brewery thinking they're in the museum, they might not ever get out of it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Huh,
Well,
that's an idea.
yeah,
been
maybe
known
we
to
should,
happen.
we could have our meetings down there.
At the brewery.
Yeah. So, we all gotta show up, and, did you guys want cookies, coffee, or do you just want it to be like that meeting we had in here where it's just all business,
I just like all business.
I do too, it's so much
Because the women
work.
always get stuck with
I
the
know,
coffee and cookies and the
exactly.
cleaning up and,
Okay, I'm with you on that.
okay.
Just a
Which,
business
that is part
meeting.
of God's plan, for the women to do all the women's work and for the men to do all the napping.
Your Bible is
You
different
got
than mine.
Yeah. Okay, it's strictly
They talk
business.
about that when you went to Israel?
Or maybe, I could be wrong.
Oh, another thing, my son is going to MC the deal, because I want to be out there taking notes and listening. And he knows these guys really well, he works with them, so I said, that's fine, is everyone okay with
Sure,
that?
that's good.
Sure.
Okay. He needs to practice anyway, so,
Oh, that's
but
good,
these are,
yeah.
he works with these guys on a daily basis almost, so, all right. Well, how about public comment?
no, I didn't do new
What?
business yet.
Oh,
I
okay.
still had stuff,
Oh,
but
sorry, Heidi.
did we do the Granite County Natural Resource Plan? Did we cover that?
Well, we just talked about it, that we gotta get going on it. And
Okay.
I would like all of you to go over that Crook County natural resource, pick out things. I definitely wanna put how we coordinate with the Forest Service, BLM, and all the other ones. The grazing, and, everything.
Okay,
And Sue, anything, you guys know what you like.
Okay.
And, we're open.
right. I
they
did,
need us.
I did notice that they mentioned, as far as attributes, that they have a wilderness area in Cook County,
They have a what?
a wilderness area.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
they do.
which I thought that was good. But
Oh,
now
yeah.
that plan was rejected by the county,
No,
actually.
it passed.
It did,
It did
okay.
pass eventually, yeah. I think it's a very good one. It's very county friendly, it's for that county, and,
And we've
people
got
want to
a
protect.
couple of
the
wildernesses in our county, right? We got the Welcome Creek and the Anaconda Pintler.
Right.
Yeah. How
Part-
much of the
part of-
Pantler, Anaconda Pantlers in Granite
I'm
County?
gonna say a third of it,
That's quite a bit,
a third of it,
yeah, okay.
Mount Warren's in our county, I think.
Wow.
Carp Lakes.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
We got a beautiful county.
We got,
It is
I almost
pretty,
think we
yeah.
might have a
We're
little
lucky.
more of a third, because some's on the Bitterroot and some's on Beaverhead, I think.
And then we got the
Oh.
Lolo National Forest too.
Yeah,
That's not
there's-
a
No,
wilderness.
There's no
No
Lolo
wilderness
down
in
that far, but, so yeah, some could be in Anaconda Deer Lodge County, I'm pretty sure. And some's in Ravalli County.
That Crook County is not so unlike us. It's got more population than we have, but
Has anybody seen any of the natural resources plans in Montana?
I don't think many people have them, do they?
See, I'm thinking forest, sorry.
Name
I was
some
thinking
counties that
forest.
have them.
Broadwater,
Okay, just a minute.
well,
Broadwater?
yeah, you look it up. And I forget which one it is. Lincoln County,
I read some of that plan.
okay, so there is,
Pretty interesting.
and there's
you like
one,
it?
The parts I read
Lincoln County.
pertinent to what we're trying to do.
Okay. We can learn a lot by looking these up, how we want to do ours.
One, and I think it's Beavertail,
Beaverhead?
Beaverhead?
Beaverhead. It's 500 and something pages.
Ooh,
This is their natural resource policy? Okay.
And that's for Beaverhead
Land
County?
use and natural resources. And it's not something you just sit around and put together. There's maps involved with it.
nice. Lena,
The
do they
roads
have,
are involved in it, the water places are involved in it,
do they have
everything
a
is in
growth
it.
policy with a natural resource, or do some just have a natural resource policy?
Ravalli County is working on it, and they don't have a growth policy.
So they're working on a natural resource policy?
They have one.
They
They're
have-
working on it.
Valid, okay. Well, this could be homework too. We could look up and see how it's working in theirs. Lot to do, huh?
But see, the maps are totally outdated, and if you look at some of the maps in that thing, you'll see something interesting.
Really? Okay.
Mhm.
Didn't look close enough.
One of the things I want to say about these plans, they're plans. And most of the ones that did them were from out of the area. And a lot of them didn't have any local input at all. And you'll see some of the
You're talking like
problems.
a fire plan?
That,
Yeah,
the growth
That's
policy.
totally obvious. if you read
It's like cookie cutter.
It is.
Somebody
Right.
got hired
Exactly.
to just cut and paste.
Did you know one of the towns is Porter's Corner?
Oh, it's a small town,
Very small.
Porter's Corner. But it
Yep.
is a town in there, huh?
There's only one
Oh,
corner,
that's
that's how
funny.
small it is.
Probably has the
On a
dance hall
few
still out
maps.
there. Wasn't there a dance hall or bar out there where everyone danced at Porter's Corner?
Oh,
Charlie
yeah.
Clyde played there. I've
Yeah.
heard.
He did. I
It's
remember
true.
Joe told me that.
It's true.
And I said, if I ever got elected and I ran for county attorney, I'd put a plaque there. I think it's important to have a plaque there with a story behind that,
There
which
sure
is
is.
very interesting.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I
Who
think
tore
that's
it
a
down?
great idea.
Is that,
Does the
I was,
the
it
county-
was a
Was
shame
it on
that,
private land
you know,
or
it's
they-
It's
on the
on
map
private land. I don't know
and
who
nobody
owns
knows
that.
the story
Well,
Might
that's
have been
behind it.
Curtis
Their
Smith.
best
Maybe we
service
should
out
petition.
there.
Yeah, somebody. I know Curtis Smith lived right there for a long
Yeah.
time. You know.
Yeah, I've been
Sure.
out there. I've been there. where-
Did you shake a leg there, did you?
No, but Joe said he did before he got married. Yeah, I used to go out there and have a few
Well, the
drinks.
timing of those things is very important.
Isn't there a story behind Porter's Corner though, some special
Yep.
story?
Just
Yeah.
the only one I've heard is just the Charlie Pride played there once or twice.
Did you hear the one why it's on the map? You didn't hear that one?
No.
Oh, that's a good, I'm not gonna tell you.
Oh, come on.
When they were doing Highway 1, all the construction guys used to go in there for a drink and all this other stuff. And the owner at that time was such a nice guy. I mean, he was really nice. And they said, "Is there something we can do for you?" And he says, "Yeah, put Porter's Corner on the map."
Oh,
And they did.
They did.
Huh.
I didn't know
Huh.
that, Elaine. That's interesting.
that is interesting.
Yeah. I'm
That
sure
is
a lot of
cool.
people would love it to know that it happened.
And I think it's funny that it's on the map. They have, if you look at some of these maps, there's Drummond,
Hall?
Hall, Maxville, Phillipsburg, and Porter's Corner.
Yeah.
Huh.
That explains that.
Well, I tell somebody when they come out, you turn kind of after Porter's Corner, but Porter's Corner isn't there anymore, so.
I thought the dance floor was kind of crooked there, but that could have been just that I'd been there too long. I always thought that thing kind of leaned a little bit.
And you notice how your date looks better and better the longer you're there?
Get those beer goggles on. Absolutely.
Hey, isn't it your birthday?
My birthday is the day after, let's see, tomorrow's Thursday. My birthday's Saturday.
It'd be 7-0.
I'll be 70.
Doesn't he look good for 70?
I've put in
Yeah.
70
He moves
long,
good.
hard, miserable years. Yeah.
You don't look, you could pass for someone easily.
I could pass for 68.
Oh, there's my agenda.
Is that all for new business?
Nope.
You got something else?
Yeah, well, about that grant, Mike sent me some information and Steve Kimball, this is what he said. He said, "Dear Commissioners, we received your proposal for a local government forestry assistant grant for professional assistance in developing policies and materials to reduce fire hazard and improve forest health. Your proposal was not selected for funding in this round. We received numerous quality proposals that exceeded our available funding. We selected proposal that would have the most impact in increasing effectiveness," and so on and so on. It says, "If additional funding becomes available for your proposal next fiscal year, we will notify you. We encourage you to explore, other things, and we will be discussing fire migration funding with our fire bureau and let you know." But Mike sent, here it is. He sent me this information. He said that there's a possibility they might break it up and we might get $5,000. But it has not
The
Mm-hmm.
happened
county
yet.
got 5,000,
Oh, they did get it for
so
sure?
we haven't allocated it to this committee.
But they're thinking of
You guys might
allocating
wanna
it to FMAC.
Ask,
Lobby our commissioners.
So
Consider
we need to
yourself
ask
lobbied.
for it?
yeah.
Because Mike says, "I will keep you updated."
Can we have it?
Yeah.
It
Now, you're
says,
talking beyond the 2,500 that we already have? Is it for later, or is
Yeah.
this that 2,500
this is
that they gave us?
additional.
Oh,
If you guys
additional.
think
So
you
it-
need it, I'd come in and ask the commissioners.
He said, "Once we receive the grant agreement, it will specify what the 5,000 can be used for."
And it's for like what we're doing.
And he
Yeah,
says-
like speakers to educate
Yeah,
the people in the
so we could
community.
have possibly have that 5,000 additional money
All right.
to use.
Running off 100-page plans to read.
Yeah,
Right,
that
exactly.
will be expensive, but we need to do that.
Yeah.
Well,
they did-
aren't they doing the preliminary budgets now?
What's that?
Aren't they doing the preliminary budgets now, where they're coming
Yeah,
in and
they're
discussing
starting.
budgets?
So,
Well, did we get a notice for our budget to come in and discuss it?
I haven't got a budget.
We got a budget.
I mean, they didn't send anything to me.
well, I'm telling you right now, come on in and ask.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a budget,
Mm,
like everybody else has a budget.
Right,
And they got notice from the clerk and recorder to come in and discuss the preliminary budget. So I was
Well,
just
I know we
wondering
have
if
one,
we
because I
got one.
keep sending Jim bills and they're paying for it. so-
Yeah, but see where they got the money from where? They didn't get it from the budget, they got it from PILT funds. Am I correct on that, Chuck?
yeah.
So now they have to make arrangements.
We should see, subtracting what our bills are, so we know how much we have left, so. I'm sure we have a lot, we haven't
I'm
really used it.
wondering, should we be keeping an accounting of things like that?
Probably, so we don't over,
That's what a treasurer would be for,
Right,
or the
exactly,
secretary.
that's what
Yeah.
they do.
yeah, they should send me some, that
Right,
I have, like you put in some for money. And
Yeah, I
did
put
too.
in for a flash drive and this thing
Yeah,
here.
and then the speaker, so,
And a notebook, I think.
yeah.
so
The
what,
museum and the ads. The
So we
museum and the
spent
ads.
about
Maybe we should get together and.
about $400 maybe we've taken out of it.
Yeah,
Yes.
probably.
So
So I know
you-
this was like $80,
Oh,
that
80.
thing.
Mine was about 3 some for this advertisements.
so you should just, a couple days prior to our meeting, talk to the treasurer's office, and then they can have the budget, what we've spent, a financial report all ready to go for us.
Mm.
Give them a couple days' notice, and you can just pick it up and bring it up.
That's what we should do.
Yeah.
So when I turned in that I bought that, somebody puts that in under FMAC?
Yes, they're supposed to.
Oh, what about my wages? What does
It's-
that
it's-
come
That's
from?
under FMAT.
Mathematical.
Right.
Okay.
I'm glad you're getting paid
Yeah.
finally.
That's a lot of work.
Yes, it is a lot of work. Because it's
Okay,
steady,
So we should, when's the fiscal year end? Is it in July?
I thought it was June 10th is supposed to
Oh,
be
so
out.
we should be asking them then for a report?
Well, monthly, though, you should ask monthly.
Okay.
Who would take care of that, Mike, probably?
No, the treasurer's office.
And where's that at?
Just down, where clerk and recorder is, it's just at an angle. Well,
Oh, is
it's
that
right
where
next to the commissioner's office.
All right, oh, that's where you go for your car stuff
Right,
and all that.
right,
Okay, tell them we'd like a receipt of all the
right,
expenses and
yeah,
to keep good records, so,
right. And we should always
All right.
check them
for
anyway,
FMAC, yeah.
make
That
sure.
should be
I'll go
part
talk
of
to
the
them.
discussion.
Yeah,
That's a
exactly.
good
Good
thing,
point.
because I wasn't even
All right.
thinking about this kind of stuff.
And then we could have a financial report, right after the minute,
All right.
so we know what we've got.
That's good.
Okay.
So is somebody gonna go to the commissioners' meeting Tuesday and ask for the money?
I'm going to that meeting on Tuesday, I think.
Are you on the agenda?
No, I'm not.
Okay, make sure, because it comes out tomorrow. So
Okay.
how come I can get on the agenda and,
I'm going to complain.
Well, something,
oh,
that will be on the agenda, but you might wanna get on the agenda for
Other,
this.
this right here.
Yeah, try to get on like for
I go
10
see
minutes
Mike
after the other one.
right,
after the other
So
one,
you-
okay.
yeah.
Well, is there any other new business?
Well, I have something, I don't know if it's under new business or under comments or whatever, but there was an editorial today in the Standard, and Elaine, if I would try to send you the link, but I'm terrible at that, but could you figure that out? But, so on my own, old lady way, I got it copied off, but it's about the Blackfoot Clearwater Stewardship Act. And it's just interesting the way the Blackfoot Challenge, how they deal with environmental affairs. And I would like you just to read it, and then at the end, you can see who wrote it.
What you can do, Sue, is copy and paste
Yeah.
just this and then put it on the email.
When I say copy and paste, it's like it's really light, and I can't get it to work, but I've got a new computer, I just haven't set it up.
Oh, okay. I'll put it up
Thank you.
on the Facebook page too.
Okay, thank you, Lena.
Keeps logs on trucks.
Do you know Lauren Rose?
No, but I bet my husband does, because we haul into Pyramid.
Yeah, I think
so,
you do.
yeah. So he's supporting this, huh?
Yeah, right, Lauren Rose.
All right.
And Tim Love, he
He's the one
works-
that spoke to us.
Right, and he works with, another guy from Pyramid that
Mhm.
and does the same thing as.
What would happen if this bill didn't pass? Does that mean we can't use the forest
Yeah,
for?
then it's just in then it's just in limbo,
Uh-huh.
that's my
But we can't
impression.
use it for logging or anything else, or?
I don't know, to tell you the truth, I don't know. I just know in some cases, until things are passed, a lot of the land is just in limbo. Land that could be
Kind of like our
logged,
Sapphire
or it could be
Wilderness
used,
Study Area, it's
or it
just,
could be used for hiking or camping or
Alright.
something, yeah.
are there a lot of restrictions though on the land with this bill, that some things can't be done? Usually when
well-
you pass a bill, there is, you know.
Right, like with the wilderness, then that will remain pristine, and
Sure.
like with the bike path, they're gonna have a huge path, then there'll be restrictions on the bike path, and there'll be restrictions on the horse path, because bikes and horses don't
I guess
mix.
down in Missoula, people have trouble, like the bikers come on the horse path and
Yeah.
the horse people get mad, and
Right,
I suppose that is good to have stuff like that, so
Right.
you don't have conflicts.
well,
you know.
Gianforte wanted to open up the wilderness areas to bicycles, and the horse people, of course, didn't want that, because
Yeah.
you kill a bunch of horseback riders.
Yeah, it could hurt him.
And so I think he's backed off on that. He just didn't know.
I think we should be thankful we're not overpopulated in Montana, because
Yeah,
I'll bet some states are so crowded with people coming to the wilderness. We don't see that here.
Wait till they start busing them in
How-
from
yeah.
Los Angeles.
And I saw somebody at the post office here from New Jersey.
Oh, don't even compare them to New York.
so I've got a couple of initial reactions to this. One is, since I'm a snowmobiler, I will just say, it says it opens up new snowmobiling opportunities by creating the blah, blah, blah. I would be willing to bet that 2,000 acre area is open to snowmobiling right now.
I guess so too.
I'll
Yes.
find out.
That would be very interesting
And
to know.
horseback riding
And that's not a great big
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
The great big thing with this is not that. The great big thing is, we've seen over the last 20 or 30 years, lots of proposals to trade increased wilderness acreage for increased log cutting. Okay, that's been the trade. The problem is, okay, while when you create a wilderness, when Congress does it, then there you go, it's set in stone. The problem with the quid pro quo is Mike Garrity and his friends and the people of that ilk in those anti-job organizations in Montana, they are still free to sue, just like where are they suing right now? Over by Bozeman. The Forest Service wants to have a cut back
We
there
were
by
interested in that.
back by
sales
Bridger
of
Bowl there
litigation.
and a little bit to the north of Bridger. And Mike Garrity, he's always very smug and happy. We stopped it.
And we paid him to do it.
So, right, and that's obscene as far as I'm concerned, the way that all works. What has to happen is, if there's going to be a trade of wilderness for logs, the logging,
Need to be
the cuts
protected.
that they set up have to be made immune to suit, okay? And there are a number of ways to do that, which have been proposed in the past and the environmentalists are strictly opposed. One way you do it is you say, fine, here's the logging that's proposed, here's the $80,000 worth, or 80,000 acres of wilderness. The wilderness will be phased in 20,000 acre pieces. And it has to go hand in hand with the logging. If the logging doesn't happen, then no more wilderness.
Well, we take back.
Yeah, well, you can't take it back.
I know, that's
Okay,
what
because
I
that's the
feel.
way that kind of legislation works,
Yes.
okay? But you phase it all so that you are sure. Okay, then Mike Garrity and his ilk, they have a decision to make. Should we block this logging? Because if we block it, we don't get the wilderness. What this proposal will do is the wilderness is there, it's locked by Congress. They get everything up front. And then we get to sit around and wait to see if some crumbs fall off the table. Okay? So that is one thing you can do. Another thing you can do is you can put language in that's called hard release. Hard release basically says we're releasing this area, these acres, for multiple use, and the Forest Service decision is not appealable. So if the Forest Service says, as they did over by Bozeman, this is a good place to reduce some hazard, to do some logging, if that was in hard release, Mike Garrity can't do a thing about it. So I'm always in favor of any kind of compromise or any kind of deal where wilderness advocates, of which I am one, get some of what they want in return for us getting some forest jobs. But the rug has been pulled out in the past. The rug has been pulled out. The wilderness happens, and then the lawsuits begin. So this is all a great idea, but as far as I'm concerned, in my mind, a complete non-starter unless some methodology is employed to make sure that the deal that's in here actually happens. Okay? Either phase it in piece by piece or employ language that ensures hard release so that the Forest Service decision is the decision. That's all I have to say about that.
I agree with you.
I'm completely opposed to that as written.
I would like to say one thing, though. I am very sad that our forest is being used as a pawn, because there's a timetable out there. Different forests need to be harvested, and it's going to be, you got to wait because you get to use that for this or that. The forest is a live, breathing thing. And how many here know how long a lodgepole pine tree lives?
Till it.
Well, I don't know.
till
How
it-
long does it live?
What are
Its
the,
lifespan?
how much rain is it getting?
No, I just asked you, how long does a lodgepole pine tree live?
Oh,
Like
I
your
think they go
Quakiness.
100 or more.
Your fir can live up to 200, 300 years. A
I would
lodgepole
say
pine lives 90 to 120 years, and then it dies. All the Beaverhead Deer Lodge National Forest is mostly lodgepole pine. It's dying. Even if the bugs hadn't come in, it was going to die, you know. And I just hate it being used as a pawn because there's a timetable out there to keep that forest healthy. And I'm sad that it has to be destroyed or used as a pawn, and I don't like that. But that's the way it is nowadays.
So is this the second generation of lodgepole, do you think, that's growing now, that's?
I'll bet it is, because there's been
Because-
fires, you know.
Yeah,
And,
right, with, logging in the early
Yeah.
1900s.
and you know, not earth furs, but, who's the people in the ocean that take care of?
Greenpeace.
Greenpeace.
Oh, yeah.
The ex-president, I thought this was interesting, he said, fossil fuels have saved the whales and have saved our forests. Because if we didn't have fossil fuels, there'd be no trees out there, we'd be using it for heating our homes. It would. He said that's the truth. The fossil fuels of the world have saved our whales and
Well, we wouldn't have a
trees.
stick of timber here. It'd be
Oh.
like Iceland was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'd be using it.
They cut every single tree.
Yeah, but we do live in a new deal where everybody wants a piece of the forest, and I think when we divide it up, we should look to see what part needs to be logged, you know, and decide like that, but just do it on a map, like, let's give this to so-and-so, you know? That's too bad, it's like that.
What was the legislation that Kerry White had passed in the State House that addressed the timber sale buyout?
Oh, that over by Bozeman,
Yeah,
where a group that bought it just to preserve it
Right.
rather than to log it.
Yeah.
Right.
And, yeah, I don't know whatever happened with that, because they won the bid,
It was-
right?
it was passed, legislation
Okay.
was passed at the State House, but I didn't read the
Yeah, I
bill,
don't know
I couldn't find it.
I
So,
thought it was signed, wasn't it?
yeah,
Yeah, but you know, when you do a sale, it's gotta be logged by a certain time, so otherwise you gotta pay the money. But they could put in a pretty cheap bid because they didn't have to build roads like the logger had to build roads, you know, and he just couldn't do it for that price, so that's too bad, you know, 'cause,
it'd be
Forest.
interesting to see what the text of that legislation is and how it addressed
yeah.
those issues, so.
I would like to announce that we got a timber sale finally. We've been working on it. It's a nice one. You know where Rattler Gulch is out of Drummond?
yeah, sure.
Absolutely.
Oh, way up there. It's a lot of fir, you know, and it's gonna be a big sale, but it's state, so we won't get litigated, so.
Oh, and it is state ground.
Yeah, it is,
Okay.
thank God, or we probably couldn't do it, it'd get litigated. But that is the most interesting place, all those rock formations, these people, it's very busy with people climbing those rocks.
So here's something you have to know. You know, you go on the Rattler, and then about a mile up, there's like this cone.
Yeah,
On the west side of the road, and that's the Rattler volcano, and that actually is a volcano.
You're
And it used to
kidding.
be in a geology book, Alt's Roadside Geology. I used to have, when I was teaching, I take the kids up there in the fall after the snakes were in, because it's named Rattler for a reason.
I
So be
told her,
careful.
really, they
But-
do have rattler
Yeah,
snakes.
but you know, you can climb up this cone, and it's a doable hike for kids, and
Did
then
you look down in it?
Yeah, well, you can't look in it, but you can see the blowhole, and there's all this volcanic rock. It's very interesting.
That is scary to think
Yeah.
that it once was a volcano.
Yeah. It is cool.
Wow, very interesting formation. You know, as you're driving down the freeway, everyone's seen that one rock that looks like an elephant, you know?
Oh, yeah, the elephant head.
Yes.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the rock formations that's all
Right,
through up there. It's
Exactly,
just,
it's very pretty.
and we saw a lot of people climbing them, and
Not too far from there, down on the old highway that's down closer to the cliffs there are pictographs.
I've heard that.
Indian
The guy in our
pictographs.
church was going to take us
They're in
down.
red.
And
Yeah.
there is
Where at?
There's a little sign there.
A lot of interesting stuff up
Yeah.
in there.
It's on the frontage road. Do you know where the elephant head is?
See, now I don't even know.
It's like you go past Drummond, you go to that first rest area off to your left, it's on the other side.
You
know,
are,
You run into that rock formation, it looks like an elephant before you
Where
get
the-
there. On the right.
Where the canyon starts to get pretty tight. There's a little marker on the north side of the road. You can just pull off and go down there, and
Yeah.
be careful
it's
of snakes.
almost to where, and you can't get off the interstate there, but it's almost to where all those placer tailings are there on the right-hand side as you go to Missoula, and the road goes up to Garnett.
Who would have
Just
put those
before there
pictographs
in
on
the
their old
canyon.
Indians?
If you
Yeah,
look at the rock the
right,
right way, it
Indians.
looks like an elephant.
Did you get to see
And
them?
Okay,
then
we've
just,
done
I've
there.
seen them.
I
just
just-
before
I'd like to
that, there
watch
are
that.
pictographs.
Yeah, it'd be interesting.
Maybe I'll go check it out when I go down there.
Well, you should.
I went down
you
there
should.
Sunday and we drove all through
Yeah,
the
you
sale.
should,
so-
because it's close.
Well, I think
Yeah.
it's on the west.
Very nice road going in there too.
Okay, fair warning, in 2.5 minutes, I have to go deliver fuel to Kessler Ranch Incorporated.
All right, well, we're pretty
Okay.
much done, aren't we?
I think so.
We've done some public, I guess our homework is to try to get, that.
And how much do you want us
wildfire
to
protection.
read?
Just as much as you want to, I mean, that's a
Okay.
lot, you know,
Well, I need a goal, so
okay.
you're the boss.
100 page.
Are we talking about the natural resource policy or
The
the fire?
community wildfire protection, we should pick
Right.
that up, because
The
that's,
thing
that
that you're
sounds real
gonna-
important to read that.
Give
Sounds
us a
like we need
shout
to-
when it's,
That's our business.
Yeah, I
we gotta
will.
comment
I'll go
on
down
that.
when it's ready. and
So
we can come
try
and
to
get it.
do, as much as you want
Like
to.
50, I mean, like.
Yeah, why don't you do half? I'll try to do half too. I'll pledge
Okay.
I'll do 50 once I get it,
So is that gonna be on the next agenda?
Yes,
or
let's
what?
put that on the next agenda. And also, I'm gonna look into the Broadwater, Lincoln, Beaverhead, and Ravalli County on their natural resource policies, if I got time. But this should be our main thing is, I think I'll be very interested to read what's in it. because that's kind of right up what we're supposed to do, so.
I started reading up on the Lincoln County natural resource plan because it's one of the first plans that was done with an extensive amount
Natural resource.
of coordination between state,
So,
federal,
really?
and
So they can
and
use it.
county and
All right.
Indian involvement.
A lot of people have the tribes to contend
Yeah.
with, and we don't have that here. And the Flathead County, they use coordination too in theirs with all that.
So would it be appropriate at this time for me to move that we adjourn?
It would?
Yeah.
Who would like to second it?
I'll second it.
Okay, good.
So the next meeting date is gonna be July what?
10th, I believe. I did the room already. Well, she wasn't there. She'll
Yeah,
call me. I'll let
sorry
everyone
about
know
that.
if it
Right.
isn't.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, it's just, I
she'd
know it's
been
time.
kind of
I
fading
believe
for
it
about
was
15
10.
years.
Uh-huh.
She'd kind of
Yes.
lost interest.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
She still knew me.
Oh, that's